guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back for video 2 on June the 6th, Thursday. Tomorrow will be June the 7th. That's right. And it is 11:21 p.m. Eastern Time. Now my first video is uploading and I do have a couple other news items that I want to cover. So I am doing another follow-up video to that. So let's get started. No Q post tonight, but we do have lots of Q related news. I covered quite a bit in the first video and now I'm going to try to cover a few more things so that we don't get too far behind. And thank you again. I just wanted to thank you guys that have bought me coffee and become Patreon supporters. I appreciate it. And I did want to say I have taken to heart everyone that has been concerned about me possibly being taken off of YouTube. Now, I do want to let you know that I'm taking this seriously, and I do believe that I'm going to be starting an account at DTube, and I will mirror there everything that I'm uploading to YouTube so that if anything happens to my channel here, you will know where to find me. So when I have done that, which will be in the next couple days, I will let you all know so that you won't have to worry about what will happen if they take me off. You will know exactly where to find me. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm Mishel, M-I-S-H-E-L-D, capital D, Bytes, B-Y-T-E-S, and you can find the link in the description below to my Twitter account. And I am possibly going to be getting on another channel as well, perhaps Parler, because they are not censoring. And I really hate being censored. I just don't like it because there's a lot of things that I would like to talk about that I can't. So if I was on Parler in addition to Twitter, there are things that I could talk about that I can't on Twitter. So I will let you know when those are set up, and I will provide it in the description below so that you all will know if anything happens to me here, you'll know where to go to find me. All right. And I would suggest when I do that and do put it in the description that you would make a copy of that somewhere and keep it, because of course my videos will at that point not be available at all except for on the new platform. So there's no indication that that is going to happen, but there's never any indication to anybody on YouTube that it's going to happen. They start first with demonetization, and that happened to me quite a while ago. So I guess it's conceivable that they would kick me off, but I do try to be careful. And, you know, I don't want to anger the censors. So anyway, if I'm on another platform as well, I may have material there that I could not get away with talking about here. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you guys all informed about that. And I am trying to learn how to use Discord because we have our own Discord channel. Someone was very kind enough to set that up and has done a wonderful job. And so I do want to be able to go out and talk to you all on there. I just have never used it and don't know what I'm doing. So just being honest there. All right, let's get into the news now. And we're going to start with this. And the question has been, why do some of these people still have their security clearance when Trump revoked them? Well, now we have the answer. Rand Paul, Deep State ignored order to pull John Brennan's security clearance. Well, isn't that nice of them? Yeah, they always have our best interest in mind, don't they? Yeah. Okay. All right. And Sammy is up in the window behind me and looking down like an angel from above and trying to fool you all. But anyway, you know better. Rand Paul, Deep State ignored order to pull John Brennan's security clearance. And here he is, as my friend Heather said, looking like he may have taken a laxative and gotten himself a good clean out. Because, you know, he's always got that, yeah, And I tend to agree with her, to tell you the truth. Appearing Tuesday on CNN, Senator Rand Paul slammed the intelligence community over a recent report claiming it defied an order from President Donald Trump to revoke the security clearance of former CIA Director John Brennan. Yeah. I don't know how they get off just ignoring directives. Most people that do that in any other type of employment are fired. Since they work for us or are supposed to, and we pay their salaries, yeah, I think we need them to just, go ahead and obey the President of the United States. That would be nice. It would be really nice. Okay, people talk about the deep state. Now the deep state's actually protecting their own, said Senator Rand Paul on ex-CIA Director John Brennan keeping his security clearance. I was sitting in the White House when President Trump said, I want his security clearance taken. So I want to ask you, because you've been really a critic of John Brennan, who has been a critic of President Trump? You've not been a big fan of him. You've said that. He's the former CIA director under President Obama. What do you think about this recent New York Times story that Brennan still has his security clearance? That was such a big, I guess, promise of the president's demand of the president. He said he was going to pull it, and he still has it. Senator Rand Paul replies and says, well, this is what worries me. People talk about the deep state. Now the deep state is actually protecting their own and not listening to the president's orders. I was sitting in the White House when President Trump said, I want his security clearance taken. And I saw the order given. I saw the chief of staff was there, not the current chief of staff, the previous chief of staff. And if they're working against the odds of the president, that really doesn't disrupt our country. And if they're working against the odds of the president, that really does disrupt our country, does disrupt a representative democracy where the president makes a decision. And if someone is countermanding it, that I think we need to get to the bottom of that. And I hope President Trump will say, who is countermanding my orders? I said, get rid of his clearance. And I do think that Brennan has been a partisan. And I think Brennan also abused his office in developing the Trump investigation. I think it was done under false pretenses and done for political reasons. Yes, no doubt. Well said by Rand Paul. And again, we see Brennan here looking very much like he has had a satisfactory time in the bathroom. So good for him. Good for him. Good for, what a way to clean out the swamp there. Good boy. All right, let's go back and okay, my other video is still uploading. It's at 70% in case you care. And let's go to here. Now, this is a good article, interesting. ICE prepares for mass deportations. Well, I hope so. Acting director admits we have no choice. Now, let me, there you go. And let me get rid of that. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and the crisis at the border is absolutely a crisis. If you have any doubt about that, read this now. In response to the crisis, President Donald Trump's administration is moving towards a plan for large-scale deportations. The proposal would address a current problem area, migrant families who fail to attend their court dates when they would learn their asylum claims have been denied and be ordered for deportation. According to Washington Examiner, the acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Mark Morgan, said ICE hopes the plan will disincentivize migrants who are not actually in fear of their lives but still cross the border illegally and falsely claim asylum. That's right, Sammy. I said asylum. Now, according to the Washington Examiner, the acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Mark Morgan, said ICE hopes the plan will. I just read that. Gosh darn it, it's getting late and I'm getting, discombobulated, distracted. Why not take this drastic step now? Because it's a crisis. It really is. Even though the left says it's not a crisis, then says it is, and then says it's not, then says it is, and then says it's not. Make no mistake, it's absolutely a crisis. I think we're past that now. I think we all agree it's a crisis. So the time to act is right now. Morgan agrees with me. We have no choice as I see this. We need to take some interior enforcement action, Morgan said. We need to continue to do everything that we can within the current legal framework, within the current laws, within the current statutorily mandated duties of ICE to assist to reduce this humanitarian crisis. Morgan was clear that will include families. While ICE will not target families per se, Morgan was clear that no classification of unauthorized immigrants would escape the new operation by means of an exemption. I think that a significant incentive there is the fact that once you're here and you've gone through the entire due process in this country and you've received a final order of deportation, we're in a position where we need to enforce that to disincentivize these individuals from taking the trip, exploiting the loopholes, and entering our country illegally, Morgan said. The current limitations on how long a child can be detained in the family detention center's full capacities make a quick implementation of ICE plan a necessity. ICE's resources are strained and the agency is consistently housing more than maximum capacity. And that's a problem as well because we've got, as you know, a lot of communicable diseases coming across, including Ebola, and you've got these housing places that are filled to more than capacity and overcrowding all these people in the same facility, it causes things to spread. So there's lots and lots of reasons for this implementation, and I totally agree and support it. All right, now, we're at 95% now. There you go. All right, let's go back and let's go to this. And I like this. This was sent to me by my friend Heather, and it's about the discontinuation of English classes and recreational programs for unaccompanied minors in shelters. And she said, when she sent it to me, she had little blurbs under each of them. And that's what she said. No need to learn English if they're not going to be here long, and they can get plenty of exercise while walking home. I really did laugh out loud at that. I thought that was priceless. Okay, now let's look at this. No, really, let's. Trump administration discontinues English classes, recreational programs for unaccompanied minors in shelters. The Trump administration is ending English classes, recreational activities, and legal aid for unaccompanied minors in federal migrant shelters because of lack of funding amid an increase in border crossings. The Office of Refugee Resettlement is no longer providing funding for the programs because they are considered not directly necessary for the protection of life and safety, including education services, legal services, and recreation, said U.S. Health and Human Services spokesman Mark Weber. And by providing all these things, it just makes them more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's like they do need to disincentivize, them coming. So the more they do, and really, we're paying for all that. We're paying for English classes and recreation for people who are breaking our law. There's something wrong with that. The decision was detailed in an email a Health and Human Services official sent to migrant shelters last week, the Washington Post reported. However, federal court settlement and date licensing requirements mandate that minors in federal custody receive education and recreation. The email said the government would not fund the programs retroactive to May 22nd. More than 40,000 unaccompanied minors have been under the care of Health and Human Services after illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border this year. The number is a 57% increase from the previous year. While held at the shelters, the children attend school and participate in recreational activities such as soccer and other sports. What are you going to do all day? A shelter employee told the Post. If you're not going to have any sort of organized recreation or physical activity, what are you going to do? Just let them sit in their rooms? President Trump declared a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border in February as many are fleeing poverty and violence in their home countries. Sure they are. The White House has asked for $4.5 billion to address the crisis. Yeah. What do you guys feel about this? My thing is, yes, there are some of them that legitimately need asylum, but those are the minority. And if you don't want to experience all these problems, don't come. You're illegal. And I know I probably have a really hard butt attitude towards it, but I am an immigrant and I had to go through all of the loopholes, and it cost me a great deal of money to be able to immigrate to the United States. And you know what? I totally understand it. I totally understand all the screening. They want to keep Americans safe. Why shouldn't they? They should screen. You know, they don't know who I am. They don't know if I'm going to hurt Americans. So yes, they should screen, and I'm not against that at all. But here we have all these people just marching across, marching across. It's insane. It really is insane. Okay, now let's go back. No, really, let's. Oh, here we are. We're still at 95%. I don't know if you guys, any of you guys that have YouTube channels have noticed this, but all of the videos stop at processing 95%, and they sit there and sit there and sit there until YouTube decides to release them. And I don't know what is happening. That's never happened before, but all of a sudden this is an issue on YouTube. So if any of you have your own channels or have heard other YouTube creators talking about this, let me know in the comments, because it's getting annoying. It's getting old fast. All right, let's go back. No, really, let's. Now let's look at this. Now, it's not anything we don't know, but you'll never hear it from the mainstream media. Trump's wild popularity overseas is one of the media's best kept secrets. Now, this is old. It's from February 10th, but still it bears repeating, because here he is over in the UK and getting a wildly popular reception from most. You saw with the baby balloon that there was only a few people around there, and then this hero woman, I think she's a hero, she went in with scissors and she said, "Oh, the balloon's going down." It was just priceless to me. But anyway, he's wildly popular, but you'll never hear that here, ever. Not ever. And you'll hear it even less in Canada. My gosh, I have never heard them berate and make such disparaging remarks about anyone like they do Trump. It's sickening, absolutely sickening. Of course, we don't have free press here at all. Okay, now let me see here. Still at 95% until YouTube just decides that, oh well, I guess we will let people see this. It's a very, you wonder why it's late sometimes? It's because of that. Now sometimes I'm just late too, but that doesn't make it any easier. Okay, now this is something good, believe it or not, and here's a bit of trivia for you. I used to be a Wendy's restaurant manager. Yes, I did. I was young, and I used to manage a Wendy's. It was kind of fun back then. I wouldn't want to do it now, but as corporations endorse LGBT and abortion, Wendy's chooses to promote adoption. The fast food chain has a long history of charitable giving to make kids' lives better, and they do. As woke capitalism becomes more prevalent and social justice dogma bleeds over into the corporate marketplace, one multinational, the restaurant giant Wendy's, is bucking the trend and promoting life. Wendy's and the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, named after the late founder of the fast food chain, are standing up to better the lives of children in the foster care system. While liberals complain about conservatives not caring about children once they are born, a program created by the foundation, Wendy's Wonderful Kids, finds homes for children who are older, part of a group of siblings, or have developmental disabilities. The organization improves the lives of the downtrodden, children who would be aborted if leftist groups like Planned Parenthood had their way. The foundation is partnering with Snapchat to start the Cause Cup program. Participating Wendy's location will give soft drinks that have a code on them to allow people to donate $5 towards the foundation, and giving more opportunities for disadvantaged children to live fulfilling lives with a family of their own. Rita Soronen, who has served as a president and CEO of the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption since 2001, hopes that this partnership with Snapchat will take their adoption program nationwide. In this country, there are 110,000 children waiting to be adopted. That's a lot of children who are at risk of turning 18, leaving foster care without a family. They are much more susceptible to negative outcomes as adults, Soronen said during an interview with Columbus Monthly. They have tested out their methods in Ohio and had great results by focusing their resources on understanding the children and treating them as individuals rather than cogs in a machine. Caseworkers are given resources and empowered to spend a great deal of time on children so they can be understood and placed in homes where they can thrive. For the past 4 to 5 years now, we have scaled Wendy's Wonderful Kids. Across Ohio, we've seen more than 330 adoptions finalized across the state. We know that it's about $3 million a year to keep this program scaled in Ohio. Since we've had the program in Ohio, we've saved the state $64 million. Soronen said, "We're saving children's lives and we're saving critical resources at the state and county level. It's that 1-2 punch that makes sense for states," she added. The foundation has become one of the most successful charities in the country and is using social media to actually make a positive difference for the lives of children. Now, this to me is wonderful, and I don't know about you. I always did like Wendy's because I think they're a little bit healthier. They have a little bit better menu choices, and I'm not a fast food person, but occasionally if I am out and about, I do have to stop somewhere, and I did recently discover there's a Wendy's in this, the Wendy's that I used to manage way back when I was, I was in my very early 20s, is no longer here, but there is a Wendy's not that too far from here, and I am going to make a point of frequenting it because this is what I like to hear. And I do like to support causes. We have like an unwed, I don't know what they call it now. It's like a place for women that have decided to keep their child and they need resources, things like that. I feel good about giving to causes like that because it is, these mothers are making the right decision and they need to be supported. And this is also wonderful what Wendy's is doing. So this is just very heartwarming. I wish I could adopt one of those children. I really do. It's very sad. Oh, well, look at that. It's uploaded now. So yeah, let's go back here and we will go on. Just a couple more things I want to cover. This will not be a long video. All right, and this from the Daily Caller. Sammy is looking into the camera, but from the angle, you wouldn't be able to see him, unfortunately. But he is being quite good tonight, isn't he? You would never know he was out, like, about in this area, would you? There's been no tail walk by the camera or anything. He's a good cat. President Donald Trump is canceling a contract that provides government funding to the University of California, San Francisco, for research that issues fetal tissue harvested from elective abortions. Now, to me, this is good news. Maybe some of you don't feel that way. I do. I know for myself, I am waiting. The stem cells have just come to this area and they are doing stem cells. I've always felt that that was my answer for my spinal issue is stem cells, but I've waited because I would not, I didn't want to do stem cell therapy from fetal stem cells. I won't do that because I'm so against abortion that I think that would be very hypocritical of me. But these that are coming to this area, they do harvest the stem cells from your own adult stem cells, which they get in your bone marrow. So yes, a little bit painful, but at least it doesn't conflict with my my religious ideology. So there you go. And this makes me feel good. The Trump administration first focused its sights on the contract this past September with the National Institute of Health, warning UCSF that its $2 million annual contract for fetal tissue research would be curtailed for 90 days and possibly canceled altogether. Senior administration officials told the Daily Caller that the contract will be officially terminated Wednesday. The cancellation stems from a 9-month U.S. Department of Health and Human Services HHS review of all research involving fetal tissue from elective abortions. HHS will also install ethics boards overseeing all extramural research involving fetal tissue. So to me, I'm not going to go ahead and read all this. I just wanted you to be aware of it. But to me, I think this is good. Let me know in the comments below. You are more than welcome to disagree with me. I will not delete your comment just because you disagree with me. I'll only delete comments if they're very rude, crude, or abusive towards another individual. That's the only time I delete tweets, or comments rather. My mind's stuck on Twitter. All right, let's go here and let's go back. I think we have one more thing to cover. I didn't think I would cover it all tonight, and I think I have, yeah. Well, that's impressive. Well, to me anyway. Okay, now, actually, no, I'm not going to cover this because this is going to take a long time to cover, and I think what I'm going to do is make an entire video about this. Not tonight, but I will. And so that's it. I know this was probably short compared to the last video, but hey, short's okay. I'm short. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you for your support, your encouragement, your prayers. I appreciate it. And thank you for being so kind to one another in the comments. It really warms the deep dark cockles of my heart, whatever that is. So good night. Have a wonderful evening. Sleep well, stay safe, and keep seeking truth because deception bites. Good night.